what makes an RTS game great? I've always followed the Blizzard mentality of the game needs to be easy to learn but hard to master. You want new players to pick up the game and understand what they're trying to accomplish. Most RTS games follow a set style. You're gathering resources on the map to build a base and an army to defeat your opponent. Micro and macro go hand in hand with a successful RTS game. When you tell a unit to move, you want it to feel smooth. Without that, you lose out on the micro potential your game has. The macro side of things needs to follow a flow that makes sense. What do I need to do to unlock the next stage in my tech in order to properly spend my resources and advance in the game? Without proper macro potential, I might as well be playing a city builder or a MOBA. I've been playing RTS games since Warcraft 2 and Age of Empires. At one point, I was doing commentary work for StarCraft 2, so I've always been a strategy nerd. However, there's a whole side of the RTS games that aren't top-tier esports. Games like Age of Mythology that are super fun and entertaining, but not designed for the esports scene. So let's talk about the breakdown of the RTS scene and players that enjoy the RTS genre. The RTS player base is usually split in an 80-20 split, with 80% of the player base focusing on campaigns, co-ops, or fighting computers, and not playing the multiplayer 1v1 ladder. Our last video on the big three in the RTS world focused on 3 titles that I believe are most geared toward that 20 split, with the 1v1 and esports in mind. Today's video, let's talk about 2 of the most exciting RTS games that are geared for that 80% of the player base, and not the hardcore or esports focused players. Now, there are many more in development, so leave a comment and let me know which of these that you're more excited about, or tell me what game I haven't mentioned in the RTS world that you're excited to play. Tempest Rising is the first game that we're going to talk about. This was the most commented game on our previous video, so I figured this would be the perfect game to talk about first. This one is probably the most hyped up Command and Conquer style new age RTS. It is set in a post-World War III world where an electric plant called Tempest is spreading across the world. Of course, this is the main resource and the only resource that you're going to have to worry about harvesting while playing. And what we've seen so far, there are 2 factions available with a third in the works. The Global Defense Force and the Tempest Dynasty are these 2 known factions, with similar units that you'd expect in a Command and Conquer style world of soldiers and tanks. Now, the actual game was delayed after feedback from testers, which is awesome to see that they're taking the time to make the game the best that it can be. Right now you can wishlist it on Steam, but also download and play the demo, which shows off 1 campaign mission from each faction. You can see a little bit more now, but I'll put up an actual gameplay footage of the demo next week. In addition to the campaign, there will also be ranked multiplayer mode and skirmish custom games. This game feels a little bit slower movement-wise, with units taking a lot longer to turn around and move on the screen, which makes it a little bit difficult to retreat or run away during battle. I don't know if this is just the way that it feels in the demo, or is it just kind of the way that the world feels itself and kind of getting used to it from the faster-paced RTS games, but we'll see what sort of changes get made when the game is fully released. Homeworld 3 is another highly anticipated upcoming release, and it's its 3rd release in the Homeworld series. Of course, what sets it apart from other RTS is that it's at an epic scale. Most RTS games take place on the ground, and there's terrain that you have to deal with, elevation levels of high ground attack versus low ground attack, or even fog of war. All of that is thrown out the window with Homeworld, since it's an epic space RTS game. With such an epic scale, the speed of the game feels much slower, with more emphasis placed on the strategy element compared to other games. Even though things feel slower, it doesn't necessarily feel out of place in the vastness of space. You only have to worry about 1 material to harvest and gather in this RTS, which you harvest from asteroids and other space rocks, which you can then turn into purchases for more ships on your fleet. Besides the campaign and story mode that the game will have, it'll also have online PvP mode. They're also working on developing a game mode that's unique to the genre, known as War Games. This game mode is set up for 1 player or co-op, and it's designed as a roguelike adventure. As you progress through this War Games, you'll get special unlocks for new fleets to use or artifacts to power up your fleet with. Like other roguelike adventures, if you fail or die, you start back at the beginning. This is a great replay value added to the game, and a great reason to keep challenging yourself to unlock more artifacts or test out new strategies to complete each mission. Homeworld 3 is available for pre-purchase and with an expected release date of March 2024. It's kind of our closest RTS to release out of all the ones we've been talking about. Both of these games are going to sell well based on the hype around them, but I'm curious, will they be long-lasting games? Don't forget to leave a comment and let me know which one are you most excited for and why. Also, what other RTS games that I haven't covered yet would you like to see covered? But thanks for tuning in and watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next game.